Terrell Owens was a problem. He went after his own quarterback in the press. He did sit-ups in his driveway while the cameras rolled. He even cried on national television standing next to his publicist. He feuded with coaches, front offices, owners, and teammates across 4 different franchises over a 15-year career. By every account, every analyst, every talking head, every locker room source, Terrell Owens was the most difficult player the NFL had ever seen. But here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. He was right. About Jeff Garcia, about Donovan McNabb, about the Eagles' ownership, about the Cowboys' dysfunction, about the Hall of Fame voters who kept him waiting 7 long years after he was eligible. History has quietly ruled in Terrell Owens' favor on almost every single one of his complaints. We just never gave him the apology he deserves. Before we get to the drama, and trust me, we will get to all of it, you need to understand what Terrell Owens actually was as a football player. Because if you grew up only watching the highlights of the sit-ups and the Sharpie and the star at midfield, you might have missed the fact that this man was one of the 2 or 3 most gifted wide receivers in the history of the NFL. All right, let's go back to 1996, the San Francisco 49ers. T.O. is a 3rd-round pick out of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Not exactly the pipeline for NFL superstars. He's raw. He's athletic. He's got hands that could catch anything thrown anywhere close to him. But he's behind Jerry Rice on the depth chart, which means he's behind the greatest wide receiver who ever lived. Most players in that situation, they simply disappear. They become a footnote. A guy who couldn't get off the bench because they were stuck behind a legend. But Terrell Owens used those years to become unstoppable. By the time Jerry Rice left San Francisco, T.O. was already a top 5 receiver in the game. 6'2", 220 pounds. He ran like a cornerback and hit like a tight end. He had the route running precision of a slot wide receiver, combined with the body control of someone who had been doing this since the day he could walk. Between 2000 and 2004 with the Niners, Terrell Owens posted numbers that would make any wide receiver today blush. He had posted back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, had double-digit touchdowns, and in a game against the Chicago Bears in 2000, he caught 20 passes. 20 in a single Sunday afternoon. That record still stands today. The question was never whether T.O. could play football. The question was always whether the people around him were good enough to deserve him. And that's where our story gets complicated. In 2003, the San Francisco 49ers have a quarterback named Jeff Garcia. Garcia is capable. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He is not, by any reasonable measure, an elite NFL quarterback. T.O. says this out loud, in public. The reaction from the media is immediate and unanimous. Terrell Owens is a cancer. He's a distraction. He's destroying team chemistry. You simply do not throw your quarterback under the bus. That's not what a good teammate does. Here's what nobody wanted to say at the time. Jeff Garcia was not an elite quarterback. The 49ers would go on to start 8 different quarterbacks over the next 8 seasons after Garcia left, and the franchise fell apart. T.O.'s read of the situation, that San Francisco was not a winning environment, that the pieces around him were not good enough, was entirely correct. He just said it when saying it made you the villain. So eventually T.O. engineers his way out of San Francisco, and in the 2004 offseason, through a contract dispute that became one of the messiest free agency situations the league had ever seen, he landed in Philadelphia with Donovan McNabb, with a team that was built to win. And for one season, Terrell Owens is the most compelling player in the entire NFL. The 2004 Philadelphia Eagles go 13-3. They reach the Super Bowl. And Terrell Owens, playing on a surgically repaired, broken fibula with a screw in his ankle, 6 weeks after most doctors said he would never play in that Super Bowl, goes on to the biggest stage in sports and catches 9 passes for 122 yards. They lose to the Patriots 24-21, and Terrell Owens, with tears in his eyes on the podium, says this: "Don't blame this on me. He was right about that too." 2005 season in Philadelphia is where T.O.'s reputation goes from difficult to untouchable. This is the season of the driveway sit-ups, the press conference with the publicist, the suspension, and eventually the release. If you only watched SportsCenter that year, here's the story you were told. Terrell Owens was a locker room cancer who poisoned one of the best teams in the NFC, demanded a contract he hadn't earned, and was rightfully cut loose by the Eagles when they had finally had enough. Now, let me tell you what was actually happening. T.O. had restructured his contract to come to Philadelphia. He believed, correctly, that his performance in the Super Bowl, playing on one leg, had earned him a renegotiation. But the Eagles refused. Not just refused, they stonewalled him completely. So, T.O. did the only thing a player without union leverage could do in 2005. He made noise. He went public. He did the sit-ups in the driveway because the cameras were there, and the cameras meant pressure. And pressure was the only currency he had. Was it messy? Absolutely. Was it professional? Not at all. Was he wrong about the underlying argument that he had outplayed his contract and deserved to be compensated fairly? No, he wasn't wrong about that. Here's the part of the Philadelphia story that got buried underneath all the noise. In a radio interview that year, T.O. suggested that the Eagles would be better with Brett Favre at quarterback than Donovan McNabb. The city of Philadelphia acted like he had burned the Liberty Bell to the ground. But here's what happened to Donovan McNabb after Terrell Owens left. He threw for over 31 interceptions in his final 4 seasons with the Eagles. He was benched in favor of Kevin Kolb. He was traded to Washington, where he started 8 games and was eventually released. His career ended at 34. No Super Bowl ring and no playoff wins once T.O. departed. Terrell Owens looked at Donovan McNabb in 2005 and said, "This guy is not good enough to win us a championship." And history agreed with him yet again. After Philadelphia, nobody was supposed to touch Terrell Owens. He was radioactive. The narrative was set. Bill Parcells and the Dallas Cowboys signed him anyway. And for 2 seasons, T.O. reminded everyone exactly who he was. 2006, 1,180 yards, 13 touchdowns, and the Cowboys go 9-7, barely missing the playoffs. 2007, 1,355 yards, 15 touchdowns. T.O. is 34 years old and playing the best football of his life. And then, Tony Romo throws 4 interceptions against the Giants in the playoffs. The Cowboys lose. And Terrell Owens, who has done nothing wrong in this specific situation, sits at a press conference and cries, defending his quarterback. The internet mocks him for a solid week. But think about what just happened. T.O. spent years being vilified for not supporting quarterbacks. And the one time he stands up publicly and emotionally for a teammate, for Tony Romo, who has just cost them a playoff game, he gets mocked for being emotional. There was no version of T.O. that the media was ever going to accept. He was cut by Dallas after the 2008 season. He then went to Buffalo, then to Cincinnati, and then by 2011, he was out of the league. He was 37 years old, and physically, he still had something left. But his phone had stopped ringing. Not because he couldn't play, but because no team wanted to deal with the story. Let me tell you what Terrell Owens' career actually looks like on paper. 1,078 receptions, 15,934 receiving yards, second all-time when he retired, and 153 receiving touchdowns, second all-time. He played in 5 Pro Bowls. He played in a Super Bowl on a broken leg. He was, by every objective statistical measure, one of the 3 best wide receivers the NFL had ever seen. And the Hall of Fame kept him out for 7 years because the voters didn't like how he acted. When Terrell Owens was finally inducted in 2018, he did not attend the ceremony in Canton. He held his own ceremony at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, the school that gave him his only scholarship offer, the school that believed in him before anyone else did. Some people said it was classless, another act of ego from a man who couldn't stop making things all about himself. I'd like to offer a different perspective. A man who spent 20 years being told he was too much, too loud, too honest, too difficult, decided that on the day the football world was finally going to acknowledge his greatness, he was going to do it on his own terms, surrounded by the people who had always been in his corner, not the voters who kept him waiting, not the organizations that cut him, and not the media who spent 15 years turning his name into a punchline. He spent that day on his own terms. Here's what I want you to take away from the story of Terrell Owens. We built a narrative around this man that was more comfortable than the truth. It was easier to call him a cancer than to ask whether or not the teams around him were good enough. It was easier to call him selfish than to acknowledge that the NFL's contract system gave players like him almost no power to advocate for themselves. It was way easier to say he was wrong about his quarterbacks than for us to wait for history to prove him right. Terrell Owens was difficult. He was not easy. He was not quiet. He was not the teammate that coaches put on a poster. But he was also right about the football, about the money, about the quarterbacks, about the Hall of Fame voters. The NFL spent 15 years telling Terrell Owens he was wrong about everything. Turns out, he was just ahead of the conversation. Thanks again for joining us here on Game Changers. We hope that today's story of Terrell Owens brought some different perspectives. What do you remember about T.O.'s time in the league? Do you see him more as a distraction and a bad guy, or someone who was misunderstood? Drop your comments below and let us know your thoughts. Thanks again for checking this out. Like, subscribe, and definitely leave those comments. We hope you all have a wonderful day. God bless you all, and we'll see you in the next one.